welcome to the Scary Goals Club. I am your host, Hazel Robertson, and I believe that to make the impact that you know you are called to make in the world, it requires setting bigger, scarier goals and then becoming the person who creates them. That is what I am here to show you how to do. That's what we're diving into with mindset, tools, tricks, really simple, practical, actionable steps you can take and start applying straight away. Because whatever you believe, we have this one life that we definitely know about. Start making the impact you know you want to make in the world. Fear is not a reason to stop. We keep going. We work through the fear. That is what we do in the Scary Goals Club. So come on in, come join, hit subscribe, and let's get started. Hi, and welcome to the Scary Goals Club podcast. I'm your host, Hazel Robertson. And today we are diving into everything around meetings. Now, I know that seems maybe a little bit of a stretch from like scary goals, but it is all linked. Like anytime we're working on a scary goal, it could be a scary goal for work, for our business. It could be a scary goal like in our personal life, like anything that we're working towards. There are always going to be demands on our time where other people are asking us to do something, are requesting something, are asking us to attend meetings or do social things. Like there's always going to be requests coming in. So I'm going to talk this through in terms of like in a work, business, day-to-day sense, where it's like, if you're ever feeling like, oh, my calendar's just filled up with meetings, or like all these meetings are just like piling up in my calendar, and there's just this like influx of meetings and my calendar just fills up and literally I like blink and it's like, when do I have time to like do anything, move forward my scary goals? Or whether it's like the bigger things at work, the bigger projects, the more strategic stuff, just having that time to think. And it's like all of these meetings are just like piling up, and like my days are just gone in like back-to-back meetings, and then all of the actions come out of it, and there's all of the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm just not like, you're not moving forward the stuff that really matters, the bigger, juicier, meaty stuff that's like around your scary goal, around making a bigger impact, around shifting the direction of your business or launching a new project or product or whatever it is. The bigger stuff that's like, okay, I'll get to that after I do all these other things. And one of the things that's taking up your time is just like having all these meetings just like in your calendar. If this is you, you're going to love this episode. Okay. So I'm going to dive into like the mindset and decision making behind it, and also give you at the end, I can't remember how many I've got, 7 questions for like, okay, say that there are meetings, like how to get really clear and how to actually make meetings work for you. Because what's the point if they're not working for you and they're not actually moving you where you want to go and they're not helping? Then what is the point? Because then you end up just being in these meetings, being resentful, being like, oh, this is such a waste of time. Why am I even here? And just like getting really frustrated. Or maybe then it's like all of your energy is taken up with these meetings that you're like, I don't even need to be here. This is such a waste of time. And then you're trying to do all the like bigger scary goal stuff, the bigger projects in the evening, or like fitting it around it. Or maybe you're getting up like early to start work to like get ahead on the day. Maybe you're doing stuff on Saturday morning, like whatever that is. This will help you just take back and feel like you have a little bit more control, a little bit more agency over your calendar, over your life, over where you are working towards. Okay, so let's I can't even speak. So let's dive into it. So the first thing, and this comes up so like, this used to be me, this comes up like all the time with clients as well, is it's this like, oh, there's just, my calendar is just so full with meetings, or like my calendar just keeps filling up with meetings. And when we say it that way, it's like the calendar just fills up, or the calendar just happens to be full of meetings. It removes us from the picture. It removes us and our agency, as in like, we don't have any decisions at all. The calendar just fills up with meetings. That's just what happens. But actually, there's a few decision points along the way. So first of all, so it's like if we can almost take like, the end result is having like these meetings in the calendar, but it's like if we can go back and get really specific, like how did they get in there? And I know this might sound like an oversimplification, but like when you can break it down step by step, you can see that along the way, there are decision points. Now, at the moment, you might not even realize that they're decision points. You might just be like, well, that's just what I do, or that's just this thing. Like so much of what we do is habitual. Like our brain builds these habits and we just do these things on default and we're not even aware of it. And then once we can start to break it down and see the different steps and see the decisions that we make along the way, then we can start to understand, oh, interesting. What was driving that decision at that split second in time? Why did I decide to do it this way? Why did I not do it this way? We can get curious, and there's normally some belief in there. This is like basically what we do in coaching, is like honing in on like micro moments and be like, what were you believing in that moment that caused you to make that behavior, that decision, do that thing? And when we can get curious what that is, then we can start to unpick the belief, and then that changes the behavior in the future. So that's basically the process. So for example, if we break down the step of like a meeting going into your calendar. So someone, whether it's like a client, whether it's a colleague, whether it's someone in your team, whoever that is, will send you a meeting request. So they have decided, okay, we're going to do this meeting at this time, and they like add you to the email list. So this meeting invite comes into your inbox. Then there is a decision point, okay? Because then your hand is like on your mouse or on whatever, maybe it's on your phone, and you're clicking accept. Now, again, you might just be like, well, yeah, of course, like I'm invited to a meeting, of course I just click accept. But I just want to offer that this is a decision point. This is a point where you subconsciously, you've not even been aware, have just decided, yes, I'm attending that meeting. And this is what can often happen. Or if you have like a PA or a VA or an EA or whatever that is, they're maybe doing that on your behalf. So it's like this meeting comes in, and someone, you or someone that is like reporting to you, is clicking accept. And that is a decision point. And this is where we're going to like come in with today's episode, is like pausing and actually stepping away, and not just on default being like, yes, accept, accept, accept. It's like creating a little bit of space, stepping back and just being like, okay, interesting. So it's like the meetings don't just go into your calendar. They don't just appear in your calendar. You are actually accepting them. You are in a split second making some decision, or maybe it's just automatic, like cool, clear, yeah, accept, it like disappears from your inbox, whatever that is. You're still actively saying yes. And this is so important because you have agency, you have authority, you have like, you are in control of how you are spending your time, of how you're spending your days. Like someone can make a request. Ultimately, it is down to you as to whether you say yes or not. And there's so many things that you can start to think about, like, is this important? Is this a priority? Like really questioning the meeting itself to be like, are you going to allow it to take space in your calendar? And really thinking about your calendar as like, and your week, your work week, your life week, as this like sacred space. This is space where you have a certain amount of energy, a certain amount of focus, a certain amount of time carved out there to be moving forward the things that are so important to you. Your big vision for where you want to take your role, your business, your projects, whatever that is, like to create that impactful change and not just get bogged down into like saying yes to meetings, scrambling around, just like blah, 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 like on a bit of a hamster wheel. It's like you are like, the way I often explain it to clients is like, imagine you are the CEO of your time and the CEO of these meetings and the CEO of your calendar. Like, how would you be showing up differently? You probably wouldn't just be, yep, cool, like not even thinking, like, yeah, I'll just say yes to those things. You'd be really intentional. You'd probably drop back and be like, okay, is this where I want to go? Does this align with like my vision, the vision of where I'm taking my goal, the project, this role, like whatever that is? Does this align with this? And then if not, making decisions, having conversations, like shifting it in a way that's going to work for you, and really honoring your time as not like, oh, someone has invited me to this meeting, so like I quote unquote should go, or like I should always accept meetings, or like oftentimes maybe we maybe don't even realize this, but it's like that there's actually fear that if we don't accept, especially if it's like a client, and again, there's something that can come up a lot, is like some of my clients are working like 4 days in a week, and one of their clients suggests a meeting like on a Friday, and normally they would have the day off, and they're like, oh, but I have to say yes because it's the client. And so then they're reneging on like their boundaries, on their, it's going into their like personal time. And when this happens and we start to say yes to stuff that's not ultimately a yes, that it doesn't feel that we're not like, okay, yes, this is moving us forward. When we say yes to meetings that like we really don't need to be in, or that are like really badly organized and structured and are not well chaired and aren't a good use of our time or energy and aren't really in like focusing on where we're going to go, or like we say yes to meetings that are outside like our own boundaries for when we're working, when our energy works, we start to feel resentful. Like in the meeting, we're not really showing up because we're like, oh, this thing that I said yes to. And we're resentful of ourselves because we're like, and get frustrated. It's like, I said yes when actually the answer is no. And now I'm spending this time on this meeting that I don't even need to be in instead of doing this really important stuff that's actually going to move me and like my vision, like where we're going. And also we can get resentful of like the meeting organizer, like the people in the meeting as well, when it's like, it's not on them. Like they suggested the meeting, but ultimately it's down to us as to whether we accepted it or not. So now we're like frustrated and resentful at them rather than like, no, it was on us. We didn't have the conversation. We kind of people pleased and just said yes instead of like actually being like, what is it that we want and like advocating for ourselves. And I think like there's so many reasons that this happens. I think oftentimes in organizations, it's not modeled maybe to like suggest other times. Maybe everyone's like trying to just say yes and like keep the peace and fit in. And then it's like no one's actually saying, well, this time would work better for me, or like, can we make something like shift it in a different way? And so maybe it's not been modeled. Maybe it feels like you don't want to let someone down. You're worried about their reaction, and like maybe that you won't seem like you're committed enough to something if you say, actually, I'm not going to attend this meeting, or like, can we do it in a different way? And also, I think when, especially this can be like another layer when we are neurodivergent, and it's like meetings sometimes can feel hard if we don't understand exactly what the purpose is. There's not like a clear agenda, there's not like clear structure. It can feel just like, oh, this like boring, pointless, like time wasting thing. It basically feels it's like kryptonite. It's like, oh, I can't go with this. And yet oftentimes we can be worried about like advocating for ourselves because it's like we have often, again, if you've got ADHD or neurodivergent, it's like there's been so much evidence that her brain has found from the past of like, we're not organized and like we got into trouble for this thing and like we didn't do this to this. And it's like we latch onto, especially the like tiny bits of like where we didn't deliver something or like we got a bit of feedback that like wasn't what we thought. And like we just latch onto that. And so it's almost like we can create this narrative in our mind that like we're not organized, we're not good enough, we're not this, we're not capable, whatever. And so it's almost like we want to go the opposite of like, okay, I want to seem like I have everything figured out and that of course I can do all these meetings and deliver all this like work and like lead this project and do all this stuff. And so we can often end up saying yes, wanting to, and also we want to be helpful, right? Especially when we're working on like big life, world changing missions. It's like we are passionate about what we do. Like we care, we give a shit. And it's like we want to be quote unquote helpful and like move things forward. But often that can mean saying yes when we know that it's actually a no, or saying, of course, yeah, I'll do these things, and like trying to look like we're reliable and we're organized. And it's like, actually, you can say no and still be reliable. In fact, that's almost, it's like, that's more reliable than saying yes and then being like now having to cancel, or saying yes and then not being delivering on things, or being like exhausted or burning out. It's like the more that we can like listen to what is true for us and say it in a kind way. Like it doesn't have to be like, no, it can be like explaining or like chatting to someone if we're not attending a meeting. Then it's like the more that we can advocate for ourselves, the more that we just create space for our own energy and like what we need. And we're focusing on the stuff that lights us up. And it's like inner zone of genius and that our strengths, and that we're focusing on like creating that and building that bigger vision and giving ourselves space for it, and not being bogged down in these meetings that like we don't need to be in, or that are like poorly organized or unstructured. When we can just let ourselves lean into what is important for us and actually advocate for it, we're going to show up like so much more ourselves at work. It's going to be so much easier. And we're also modeling, especially if you're leading teams or you have like working within a team, even. It's like when you can say and push back on something, or like ask for it to be even better, or ask for it to be done in a different way, you give others permission to do the same. And then you're coming up with different ideas and like innovative ways of like, what if we didn't need this meeting at all? And what if there's other ways to do this and get this information that gives other people permission to do that? Because I 100% guarantee that like, if you're just automatically clicking yes to meetings, so many other people in your organization or that you work with or your clients like are as well. And it's like when you start advocating for yourself and stepping into that authority of like, you are the CEO of your time, you are the CEO of your calendar, you're the CEO of like meetings that you allow to be in, like making them work for you, helping them be like super effective, like really purposeful, you getting out what you need. And then it's like, maybe you don't have as many meetings, maybe you have way more time to do other things. And when you can start doing that, you are helping others step into their own power and their own like self-authority around their own time, and not just feeling like this scrambling or like I have to say yes because someone has asked me. Like, what if that's not actually true? And so the key thing with all of this is to be intentional with how you are spending your time, to be really intentional with the decisions that you are making about what you are spending your time on, not just like reacting and going on default and just like jumping from one meeting to the next and being like, this calendar is filling up with meetings. Like, no, you decided to say yes to those meetings. And then also there's another decision point. You decided to attend that meeting, because it's like you can decide whether you're accepting it or not. And then at any point between that point and the meeting, you're still also deciding and checking in, like, do I really want to be going or not? Like, so there's so many decision points where you are reaffirming to yourself, I am doing this, I am attending this meeting. So it's not that the calendar just fills up with meetings, it's that there's some default in you that is just click accept, because it's like, I don't want to let this person down, or I should, or whatever like is going on under there. And also I just want to say, like, the piece I have noticed is when I have like said, actually, can we do it at this time, or can we do it in this way, or like push back on something, I cannot think of any time that I've done that it's ended up being a problem. Like, I cannot think, like, there's always a fear that someone's gonna be like, oh, no, like, who does she think she is, or whatever. I cannot think of a single time. Usually people are really happy to accommodate, because usually people are just like firing off meetings and being like, cool, must have a meeting. Maybe they slightly check availability. Sometimes they don't, just like put it in for when works for them. And they maybe haven't even stopped to think like, well, when would be best for someone else? And they are relying on you to say, actually, this works for me, or can we do this in a different way? And when you start to do that, again, you're helping them bring more intentionality into creating meetings, because it's like so many people are just accepting and saying yes. Whereas it's like, if there can be that thought and that intentionality behind it, and it all starts with you. It's like, it all starts with just like slowing your brain down, and in those moments, pausing and being like, wait, this is a decision point. What is my decision? And not just rushing it, not just doing it from like panic, go, 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 go. Slowing your brain down, calming your brain down, because that's when you can tap into like rational, longer term thinking. That's when like all the ideas can come. And so the first thing with all of this, I'm going to go through the questions of like things to think about. But the first thing before you even dive into anything is, if you notice you're like, a meeting has come in and you're going to go and just click accept without really even like reading it or checking it, pause. Okay. So it's like the first thing is just interrupting your default, which might be just to be like, click, click, click. Yeah. Accept. When you go to do that, is just pause. Take yourself away, even just like launch yourself like away from your computer. Get up, go make a cup of tea, step away, create a little bit of that space. Or you can pause and like do 3 deep breaths, or you could go to the bathroom, like something that's gonna, when you were just about to do the default behavior that's like, cool, I just accept a meeting. It's like, wait, that's not what the CEO of my meeting, that's not what the CEO of my time would do. Me as the CEO of my time, how would she behave? How would she show up? She would be really intentional. She would check in and just be like, is this what's going on for me? Is this the meeting I want to be doing? And so it starts with just building in that pause, taking some deep breaths, calming your brain down, then coming back to making the decision. Okay. So I'm just going to go through. So the 7 different things, these will be really helpful for like, and again, once you practice this, you will do this more on default. So it'll feel like, whoa, there's lots of different questions and things to think about. This is just giving you a few. Pick one even to start playing with. And then when that just becomes a default, then build in another one. So don't feel like I have to do all these 7, or like I have to like write them all out. You can, and look at them before making a decision if that's helpful. But also just like practice the first one, then practice the second one, and then like build them in like that. But then it'll get to the point where that will become more instant, is like your decision-making process, when you slow your brain down, will have all of these different factors in. If not, grab a piece of paper, a post-it note, like write them out, and just have it like pause before meetings and like checking with these things. Okay. So the first one is, do you know what the purpose or agenda is? I highly recommend not going to a meeting that does not have a purpose, a clear purpose stated, and does not have a clear agenda. Ideally with timing, because oftentimes things can run on or people try and put too much in the agenda. And even like if it doesn't, if you're like, wait, what if it's like catch up chat and you're like, what is the purpose? Like, what are we actually doing? What are we trying to get out of this? Just ask for one. And especially like as a leader or like within teams where you are leading, it's like when you start to clarify and ask for a purpose and ask for an agenda, you are signaling to the person that's put the meeting together, like put the meeting out, to have a bit more intentionality about the meeting. Like if they've just whacked something in without thinking about what the purpose is or the agenda, like they've not considered that. So having a clear purpose and having an agenda is just going to help like the meeting go more smoothly. And also as neurodivergent folks, like when we know, okay, this is why I could go and like this is what the purpose is, we know what the agenda is, it's so much easier to then be like, is this right for me or not? When it's just this vague thing, it's like, am I supposed to be there? What are we even talking about? What's the outcome? Like, why are all these people getting together? Like, why even do it at all? What is the purpose? And when we have an agenda as well, it's like that's going to help you just feel more calm, feel more like in control, feel more like you will know going into that meeting, okay, these are the points I want to raise, or this is the bit I want to get out, or this is like what we want to discuss. And it's like, it's going to help you prep for the meeting, everyone else prep for the meeting. So the meeting is going to be more effective. So number two is asking yourself, like, is this a good use of my time? Is this meeting a good use of my time? And even like one part with that is to check in with your priorities. And if you don't have your priorities, I highly recommend you have priorities, like even just write down what are your top 3 priorities for this week, or top 3 priorities for this month, or top 3 priorities for today. What are they? And the thing is, like, once you are clear on what your priorities are, it's so much easier to make a decision and filter like when stuff, because it's like people are always going to make requests. People are always going to ask for your time, especially because you're amazing at what you do. Like they want to ask you questions, they want your input, they want you in meetings. It's your job as the CEO of your time to protect your time, to protect your energy. And when you are clear what your priorities are, it's so much easier to say no, because it's like, this isn't actually a priority right now. It might be a priority for that person, but is it a priority for what you're working on? And is there like maybe some other way to do it? And so you're just checking in, like get your top 3 priorities and just like, is this a match? Is it a good use of your time? The third question is it needed now? Like, is this meeting needed now, right now, or whenever it is, if it's like next week, or is it needed at this point in time? Is it needed in this quarter? Is it needed in this half of a year? Is it needed in this season? Is it needed in this year? Is it needed at all? Does this meeting actually need to happen? Or is it like oftentimes people can just put meeting, like we can get into habits, just like we can get into habits of just like accepting any meeting invite comes in, it's like accept. We can get into habits of just assuming that like a meeting is what's required. And maybe if someone else hasn't like got their priorities fully set of like, okay, this is what they're focusing on, they'll be like, cool, this meeting. And it's like, but is it a priority right now? Because there are infinite number of things we could spend our time on, so many different things. There's always going to be competing priorities. There's always going to be different things. And it's just checking like, is this needed at all or not right now? And then the fourth one is just checking whether a meeting is the best way to get the information. And again, this can be a default. So many people are just like, okay, I need this piece of information, I'm going to put in a meeting. Whereas actually, there's different ways of thinking about it, but like if it's a decision, it can be useful to have people in to finalize and be like, yeah, we agree on the decision. If it's like updates, sharing information, it's like, could that be done in an email? Could it be done in a one pager? Could it be done in a voice note? Could it be done? Is there another way to get the information that doesn't involve a bunch of people or 2 or more people being online in a Zoom room or whatever at the same time, at the like same time of day? Or is there another way that like it can be done asynchronously? Because oftentimes if it's just updates, like you don't need to sit through everyone's updates. It's like if you ever, I mean, I love leaving voice notes because I find that really helpful. Sometimes typing out, I don't like it as much, but I could actually, sometimes when I'm sending voice notes to a friend, it'll be like this 5-minute voice note. And then I'll be like, okay, and I'll then text them bullets and be like, the key points are this, this, and this. If they want to like listen to my chat and my thoughts about this and that, fine, they can go and listen to it. But I'm like, the 3 bullet summary is boom, 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 because they can get that information much, like you can read something and it's like a split second, they have the information. It's the same with updates. It's like, do you need to all be sitting listening to all the updates, or could you literally, everyone does an update and you read it within like 5 minutes or less? So just thinking about like, are there other ways to get that information? Does it have to be in a meeting where everyone's in the same place or online at the same time? And there's some other ways that you can get. So it's like, could you do an email update? Could there be a one pager? Is there somewhere else? Is there like a chat that you could do it in Slack or Teams? Could you, if it doesn't need to be on Zoom, like facing each other, but it's like a catch-up chat with someone, like maybe a client or a colleague, or like you work remotely and you want a bit more of like an informal catch-up where it is good, where you decide actually you do want to connect and you do want to have that, then could you do it as a walking meeting on the phone? So it's like you're chatting on the phone, you don't need to see each other on Zoom, you're both getting out, you're both moving your body, you're getting daylight, you're getting sunshine, and like, can you do it in that way? Or could you meet up and do a walking meeting? Like, are there other ways of getting that information and having that could maybe have other benefits, rather than like, does it have to be everyone online at this certain time? Especially if people are like used to going back meetings. It's like, you're not going to get the best out of people. People are going to be exhausted and being like, wait, what is this meeting? What am I coming into? Number 5 is, well, so I'll summarize them so far. So first, what is the purpose and agenda, if not ask for one? Number 2, is this a good use of my time? Check in with your priorities and write out your priorities if you don't have them. Number 3, is this needed right now or at all? Number 4, is a meeting the best way to get the information? Number 5, does the timing of the meeting or in the day, the time, does it work with my own boundaries, my own energy? Does it work with my day that I had planned? Does it work with my week? And if not, if it doesn't, like just suggest some other days and times. If there's a meeting that comes up that's like outside, maybe it's in the evening and you've got lower energy then, or you don't work then. And again, it's like with the priorities, being clear what your priorities are before, be clear what your boundaries are. Like, when are you starting work? When are you finishing work? When is your energy levels like the best? When is it like lower energy? Like, I would rarely say yes to meetings like right towards the end of the day, because it's like, if they start to run over or something goes on and then it's like eating into like my evenings, it's like, can we move this slightly forward? Can we shorten the meeting? So really just like looking at the timing, looking at your own boundaries of when you're working, when you're not, when you're present, when you're not, and just be willing to stick with that. Because again, it's like when we decide what our boundaries are and we stick with it, like other people generally respect it. They're like, okay, we'll find another day. Like, we often will think, we're like, "Oh, this thing's so important, it has to be done right now." And like, what are they going to think if we don't do this meeting right when they said it? And like, it's usually, if you think of like a meeting request as like a first suggestion, someone's like, what about this time? Does it work? And you can be like, well, actually, this time works better for me. Or actually, I'm not going to be in this one at all, or whatever that is. So it's like, it's someone just testing and being like, here's my first thoughts. Let's do something at this time. And then it's like a chance to feedback based on whatever is right for you. So it's like, once we have our priorities, once we have really like healthy boundaries of like what is going to help us just continue to show up and like love what we do and perform at our best, it's going to mean saying no. And like, that's actually okay. It's a beautiful thing to be able to say no, because it means you're taking care of yourself, you're advocating for yourself, and you're not going to get burned out. You're not going to like push yourself and work way beyond the time you actually want to, and like actually be able to just be so present, so energized when you are working and you're focused, and then be able to actually step away, rather than like, sure, I can do that meeting at 6:30, sure, I can do that meeting at 7, oh sure, I can do that one at 8 in the morning. Like, it starts to just eat away at like our own time. It's like, no. So does it work with your timing, boundaries, energy, day, week? And if not, just suggest other times if you want to actually do the meeting. Okay, number 6, if it is needed, if you're like, okay, this meeting has an agenda, like it has a purpose, like I can see why it's important, like the timing could work, like, okay, this could all be there. Is it you that attends, or is it someone else? Like, have they got the right person? Is it you, or could you delegate to someone in your team and give them a chance to shine, give them a chance to step up? Like, does it actually have to be you that's there? Like, for example, you might want to be there if it's like, we are making this decision, then it's like, well, maybe it does need your authority or seniority to like make that decision. If not, like, maybe you could delegate it to someone and give them a chance to like step in and like show what they're capable of, and then they can just report back to you. So even just thinking like, does it actually need to be you that attends, or can it be someone else, or can you delegate it? And then the final piece is just number 7 is then make the decision. Are you going to the meeting or are you not? Or are you sending someone else? And just be so clear why. So like if you are going, be really clear, like why. What are you going to get out of it? How are you going to like get the most out of it? How are you going to make this super impactful? Like how can you get everything that you can out of this meeting? Hang on, I'm going to sneeze. I'll edit it out. Oh my goodness. There we go. And just again, it's just being really intentional with like, are you doing the meeting? And if you are, like going all in on it. It's like not just sitting in the meeting, checking emails or like being half listening or anything. It's like if you are going to be there, be really present, be like, again, it's like the CEO of your time. It's like if you're committing your time to being in this meeting, be in the meeting. Don't be half in the meeting, half in your inbox, which means you're not really in the meeting and you're not really in the inbox. It's like that's when you make mistakes. That's when someone calls your name and you're like, oh, wait, what did they say? Hang on. So it's like if you're like whatever's on your calendar, whatever you're spending your time on, be there. Don't like be in a million places. Don't be distracted. Like be in the meeting, actually be in the meeting. And again, it's like if you're tempted to do lots of different things, that's a sign. It's like, then the meeting wasn't that important. You're thinking you should be there, or you're being there to like look as if you're there. So it's like, if you are tempted to do that, then it means you don't need to be in that meeting. So it's like, if the ones that you're deciding, be so specific with like, okay, this meeting is so important, and be there, be so present. And because like when you're super present, that's when people feel seen, they feel heard. You're going to have all these like amazing ideas of like things to contribute, and you're actually going to have like maximized the meeting. Whereas if you're like distracted with your emails, it's like they just become a distraction and you're not fully getting anything out of it. And it's like you're not doing anything. So it's like you may as well have not been in it at all. And then the final piece is like, if it is a no, deliver the no. And this is the bit that can feel really scary, is like, oh, I don't want to let people down. It's like, just, you have your reasons, you know why. And it doesn't have to be like no, or it doesn't have to just be like decline. Like you can message someone and just be like, this actually isn't quite the right fit right now. Or like, I'm going to just step back, but I think you'll be fine because of this. Or I'm going to suggest someone else to come, or can we do it in this way? Like there's other ways of saying no or no, not right now. Doesn't have to be like no. And so it's like you will find your own way that works for you to say no. And just if it's a yes, keep rechecking in that it's still a priority. So say you say yes to a meeting in 2 months or something, like someone's like a catch up on whatever, and you say yes to it, double check like a few weeks before, double check a week before, like looking ahead at what you know now and what you have now and what the priorities are now. Is this thing that you thought a few months ago was a good use of your time then? Is it still a good priority, like still a good use of your time? And it's okay to then be like, actually, I've just checked in. This isn't a priority right now. Can we do it next quarter or not at all or whatever? It's like being able to kind of have that conversation. So I'll just reiterate through them. What is number 1? What is the purpose and agenda? If not, ask for one. Number 2, is this a good use of my time? Check in with your priorities. Number 3, is it needed now or at all? Number 4, is a meeting the best way to get the information or something else? 5, does the timing work with my own boundaries of when I'm working, my energy, my day, this week? If not, suggest other times. Number 6, if it is needed, like is it me that attends? Is it someone else? Do I delegate? 7, make that decision, be clear in your why. And if it is a yes, like be clear what you're going to get out of it and like why it's important, like how you're going to make the most of it, and be present. And if it's a no, deliver the no, stand firm in your decision. And then if it is a yes, like keep checking in up until the meeting. Like, is this still a priority? Does this still feel like a priority right now? And with all of this, it's like when you can start thinking like the CEO of your time, of like, wait, meetings don't just go into my calendar. I decide if they go in there. And it's like thinking of your calendar and your energy and your focus as so sacred, and like just protecting it. And the more that you can understand like what it is that you need and how to get that and protect that. For example, if you need a bit of space first thing to like get your, like, for example, I don't have any calls before 10. So it's like if I need to, I have that first hour, whether it's like I go for a walk and I'm like imagining and visualizing, or I'm like sitting out and doing some replanning. I need that first hour to be moving my body, or be to like imagining, or to be thinking. Like I don't do any calls at 9. I mean, I had many exceptions. Like I had a client that was in Australia, and the way it worked, like I was okay to do the calls once a week at 8:30. Because I was like, okay, I will do this for this like finite amount of time. Like that felt good to me, and it was very intentional. But other than that, I don't have any calls before 10. So that's my like earliest. And that works for me. And if someone is trying to put in a call at 9, unless it's like some doctor's appointment that I, whatever, it's like I don't have as much control over because it's like I go back on some waiting list. I generally will not do anything before 10 because it's like, that's just what works for me. And I know that if it's 9, I'm going to be rushing in the morning. I'm going to be a bit more frantic. Whereas I know that when I can be like, okay, no earlier than 10 for calls, then I'm just like more present, more flowy, like everything just feels better for the day. And so it's the same with you. It's like when you can understand how your energy works, how you work best, you can start to, and at the end of the day, like I don't do any calls after 4:30 because I want to give myself a bit of space from like 4:30 till 5 to just like decompress, get ready to like hang out with my son, have dinner and like do all those things. I don't want to be working like right up and then like finishing and rushing off and doing something else. Like I need that decompression time. And so I have just built in boundaries around that. And it's like, you can do that as well. The other final piece is like, you can also block out certain times in your calendar. So if you know that like the first hour of every day or like from 9 till 10, you want to have to be like do planning, to do some thinking, to do whatever, like block it out so that if people are automatically putting in meetings and looking at who's available when, it's not going to come up. They could still ask, but like it's going to come up that you don't have any availability then. So you can also do that as a way to like protect your boundaries, or maybe from 4:30 till 5, there's like something in there where it's like wrap up for the day, just like wrap stuff up. So you're not going to still be on calls like right up and then trying to do stuff after. And it's like stuff can start to like drip into your spare time. Is like, no, you decide when you're working, when you're not working, and then being so clear on that and just communicating it. And people like, there's so many other hours that like things can happen. And so it's like, just people are so understanding. Obviously there's caveats if you work in a role where there's like international clients or you're working with different time zones. But then again, it's like, you still get to decide, okay, for this week, we're doing this. And then this week it's going to be like this, or this evening, it's going to be this. And so I'm going to take more time tomorrow morning or whatever that is. And it's not, so it's like, not just like the hours accumulate, but being like, right, if I am working this evening because I'm deciding I want to, I can like have a bit more space tomorrow morning to like decompress and do that. And it's just, there's no right or wrong. I think that's the key thing. There's no like start at this time, finish this time. There's no right or wrong. It's all about listening to you and being like, what works best for me? And then advocating for it. Because when you are showing up and like being the CEO of your time, making your calendar sacred and like protecting your own energy and your own amazing creativity and thought processes and flow and like emotional state, you're just going to be like way better at what you do. You're going to be tapping into and just like feeling lit up, and it's going to help everyone that you're working with, everyone like around you. And no one else is like, the other thing is no one else is going to do that for you. Like, I know that it would be like, well, if someone else would just do these things and put these meetings in or not put these meetings in, it's like people will always make requests. People will always want some of your amazing brilliance and your amazing time and your energy. And it's up to you to protect that for yourself so that you can continue to show up and continue to help others and continue to support them. So hope that was helpful. Let me know how you get on. If you do any of these, if you try any of these, let me know how that was. Okay. Hope you have an amazing rest of the day, an amazing week ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Mwah. Hey, thanks so much for listening. If this was helpful, please hit subscribe and leave a review. This helps get this work in the hands of more purposeful people. That is, more people creating bigger, scarier goals, making an even bigger impact in the world. And if you want to take this work deeper and work with me directly, head to the show notes and I've got all of the information there. If you've got any questions or if there's anything you're like, ooh, I'd love you to talk about that on the pod, please just get in touch. I love hearing from you guys. And I'll see you next time in the Scary Goals Club.